Hello, my name is Dr. Talil Abrhiem, a professor in organization management and technology. Today I'm going to cover managing organization change and how the manager leading the change for the organizations. The peoples in my generations and olders, if you ask him about the change in 1950 and 1960, and you ask him about we have to do transformational change for the organizations, they were going to be surprised what's he mean by the change. If we ask them, that is, we have to increase the productivity for the organization between 20 to 50%. We want to increase the performance of the qualities 100%, and we have to increase the productivity 40% of the organization. They're going to be surprised. These days, with this new generation, we'll do change. Most of them. Between 18 months, 36 months, the change is constantly going. I haven't seen organization already through the stabilities. It's always constantly through change. Why they go through the change? Because they have to keep up with the competitors. So many competition in the market, so much technology is going, the globalizations, and no one wants to take some kind of his big chunk from his productivity or some product or service from the company. You see, as the globalization is growing, India, China, Brazil's, and most of the products need to be the level they need it, the customer needs. So these organizations, they change. Why are they changing? Because they have so much pressure, against those organizations. The pressure is coming from the external pressures or internal pressures is coming. And I'm going to explain those later on, what I mean by those pressures. Most of those organizations, they do the change because organizations, as the people working inside, they have to satisfy the stockholders and at the same time the shareholders to take the value and the vision for those organizations toward the profitability and to reach the competitive advantage. And the main things to do the change, as you remember, something is very important to change. It has to create some kind of a trust between the manager who doing the change, the CEO of the organizations, and most of the employees who's working inside that one. If they create the trust, it's going to create a good cultures. And that culture built on a trust. So it's going to reach their commitments, and they achieve their performance for the level they need it. Without the trust, is going to create some kind of conflict between them. So the bottom level from the hierarchy is the trust between them, so that the change will achieve and reach the goal. If somebody asks me, can you give me some kind of example for some organization they did change and how they carry that vision, or how they carry the urgency, and how they anchor that in their culture? I'm going to give you 4 examples for some kind of company they did the change. For example, like, McDonald's, IBM, HP computers, and also Kodaks. Those people, they went through a change. And I'm going to explain to you what they did, those companies, and what kind of pressure they have, so they have to do the change. If we start with the HP computers, and Hewlett Packard's, and we'll see the CEO of the organization, Carl Lee, in 2002, there's some kind of merge with the Compact Computer Systems organizations. They did some kind of merging between them. Why they did the merging? The merging because the CEO, she felt that the organization under threat from the competition concerning the personal computers, and the sale is going down. So she has to think about strategy, how to do the change, and how to implement it. So it takes a time for her to build that kind of cultures. When the merging is happening, you have to remember to bring almost 47,000 employees to the total of 147,000 employees as a whole organizations. And she created the front end and back end. What I mean by front end, I mean by that's when sale and marketings and front end, and she created also the back end is between a manufacturing and research company. And also the big things what I like about that one is make the managers by walking around the organizations. And also she did coffee talks between the management. All these things she did it. The CEO, I call it successful CEO organization, to create a good culture by restructuring the organization, by believing in the visions and mission for the S1, by communications, by a good leaderships. And that kind of leaderships, I call it to me, like a navigator stand for that organization. So she led the company for the direction they needed for the change. Remember, those kind of things happen through external pressures. This came from the outside, from the competitions, and it has to do these kind of change. I'll move to the second company that did also the change is IBM. IBM also in the computer system, and we see the changes happen from the below and have happened also from above. So two changes is happening. What I mean from the below. From the below is happening through by one of the programmers, his name David Grossman, with his friend also John Patricks. They did the change. They are programmers, and they found out, they think that they bring the internet to their business, IBM, they will achieve more profitability for those organizations. So David Grossman, one time he was watching the Olympics game, and he found out most of the games has transfers through the icon from Sun Microsoft systems, and he found out that the internet is very important to the business. So he tried to satisfy all these employees down and to send a message to the top that is very important to integrate the internet in our business. It's a good movement for the change. And the same company, IBM, also bring that from the above. And we'll see the CEO of the organization, Samuel Palmisino, and that's when he did also some kind of change in that organization. And he found out when he came, he found out there's a big gap between him and the employees. So he wanted to cut down from that gap to create some kind of good culture and good environment. So he cut down from his bonuses in half, from $5 million to $3 million in his bonuses, and he spread it between the employees. And what's happened also, he created 3 teams from the management, one from the strategy, technology, and also operation, and he cut down also from the executives. This individual, I call it like interpreters, because he took the organization to the level they needed. Also by restructure the organization, communication, and he create a good culture and communities. And that organization achieve their profitabilities and bring the sale to the level they needed. Number 3, I'm going to talk also about Kodak. The CEO, Dave Karps, in September 2003, what he did also when he found out also the external suppression in his organization, he came up with the digital technology. As you know, digital technology is very important for the Kodak with the competitions, because they get rid of from the traditional film camera. That's a big change in the technology is happened in 2003. That's one generate almost $20 billion in 2010. And also he cut jobs in 2007, almost 15,000 jobs. Save the money, save the company money, cut down from the physicals, buildings, something they don't need it nationwide, and save the money and move toward the digital technology Kodak, again, the same thing. He create a good culture, communication, good leaderships, and achieve the change in the rates he wanted. Number 4, we talk about McDonald's. McDonald's also has some kind of external pressures on them. And as you know in the documentary, you see, probably you see that's what Supersize Me. And we have one as individuals, as a filmmaker, his name Morgan Spurlock, you know. He decided that individual to eat the whole month at McDonald's, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. If they have a promotion, they take the promotion. So after a month, he found out he gained some kind of weight, his cholesterol level went up. And he sent a message that has to do something between the product they eat from McDonald's and the obesities, what has correlations between those individuals together. So they said some kind of external pressures in the organization. And in that time also was the SARS, was like, you know, foot and mouth disease, and also they have mad cow disease. All these put the pressures and the organization McDonald's. They try so many CEO to change that image for the pressures, and finally became successful, and there's creating like fresh salad, children play area, training the employees. So they went back to the basics to bring the cultures to the level they needed. So all these stories of the change is happening under the pressures of the organizations from the outside and the competition. They have to do what takes them to do, and they have to move the people in the fast pace for the level for the change. And also sometimes you hear the image of change. In case if you hear the image of change, what they mean by that one is, you mean even some people, they control the change, and some people, they shaping the change. If you see the directors of the organization, or the navigators or caretakers of the organization, those people control the budget for the organization, communicate with the people to take them to the level they needed, because the director direct the people to the goals they needed. So if they use the resources with the peoples as an input, the product they're going to bring in the end, that's the outcome of the organizations. So the director is very important element to take the organization in the direction they needed to create the budget and the money for the organization, for the profitability. If we look at another one, is called, for example, the people who shape the organization, like the coach and the interpreters. And those people, they have to, they have to share the knowledge of the employees and the communication and the behavior to shape the level of the organizations. The question is, why organization change? Like I explained to you in the beginning, organizations happen external. Externals pressures happen to the change, so the manager has to do the change. Externals happen through the fashion change. What I mean by fashion change, we see that, like, for example, the Boeing company. Boeing company, she took and imitate the image or the strategy from Jack Welch concerning the change, concerning restructuring the organization, communication, the culture, and also did some kind of 3 departments for the restructure of the organization. One is commercials and military and space. Last one is through the fashion change. And we see sometimes also mandate pressure. Mandate pressure for the organization. We'll see, for example, like something that has to do with the racial discriminations. Racial discrimination, we see this happen through Chevron and Texaco in 1996, cost the organization $176 million about African American, how the way he treated by company managers, plus racial discriminations. We see also in Denny in 1994, also they have to pay also $54 million for the people they are waiting, and they don't want to be seated inside the restaurants. And we see another one is in Coca-Cola. In 2000 also they have to pay $192 million as a lawsuit. And it's on and on concerning how many lawsuits, not only this company, that's how much they pay for the discriminations, racial discriminations. The thing is probably bring to your mind, okay, we pay the money and we are done. No, the question is still you are under review by the state and the federals to see these organizations follow the procedures concerning equal employment opportunity, the racial discrimination, the hiring, the firing, the promoting, the developing, the training, all these things. It has to follow the guidelines, each organization. So time to time they are under review and under monitors what they've been doing. It doesn't mean you pay the money and you are done. Also, with another external pressure for the organization, we see geopolitics organization, and that's what we see is happening through 9/11. And the example for that one is FBI. They have to redesign their structure concerning how to train the employees, how to develop them, how to communicate with them, to take the level they needed to serve our country for redesign the structures. Not only that one, we see also 3M, big operation, and we see also is in Nike, they were under also geopolitics pressures. Another external pressures we see as one, hyper competition. What I mean by hyper competitions is if you have two companies, one of them they try to take a business from another organization. We see, for example, Gateway, that's also personal computers, their competition, Dell computers, that is a big also hyper competitions. We see Delphi Corporation also was under pressures. Finally, it has to reorganize their structure to bring like 5 people together, like a U structures, just to bring the product faster, to bring it to the customer they need it. That's hyper competitions. We see also concerning the reputation and credibility for the organization, that's another external pressures is happening. We see that's one in the toy company. In Mattel, they call almost 10 million toys in 2007. Mattel, this was a big company, and that's what they have recall. We see also under reputation Enron, also that's what's happening, issue, how they, those accounting firms and how they shred all kind of documentation. I think they shred their reputation with it also. Tyco, the same thing. And also Walt Disney in 1990, they found out that this has a close relation between the CEO and the board of the directors, and also the management experience. So all these things is happening externals. Internals pressures is happening through growth pressures, through integrators and collaborations, and those also it have something is called like a boom pressures. What I mean by that one, the example was Sears and Bank of America. For example, the Sears, the CEO tried to change the image from Sears, not only like a men's store, but also as a women's store and as a customer stores. He tried to bring more product, more cosmetics to bring the women's and change the image concerning concentrate about all kind of people come to this store and change that image for the store. Beside the restructuring and communications with the employees. We see also politicals pressure for the organization internally. But all these internally, it has to do with things, has to bring to the organization is accountability, is about leadership, is about the trust, is about the culture, is about the teamwork. All these things, they work together toward one goal, is to achieve the productivity to our organization, help create the money they needed to achieve the goal and stay competitive in the market and reach their goal. So everything it has to do with all these things consolidated together, integrated together to achieve the goal for the organization.